Okay, so when we are writing papers about taking trips where we've traveled, we want to make sure that we write our paper in the order of how our trip went. So, for instance, if I were writing a paper about my trip to Worlds of Fun, I'm going to want to make sure I put my paper in order of how I traveled, how I went. So I might say that first, I packed my clothes. And when we fill this out, over here in our arrow, we're going to put our transition words or our linking words. So over here I put first, I packed my clothes. And this will tell me where I'm going to start at in my paper. So then I might elaborate a little bit on what I packed for the day. Then I'm going to go on to what I did next. So first I'm going to pick my next transition or linking word. So this time I'm going to choose the word next. Next, I made sure that my car was ready for the trip. Made sure my car was ready. So now I have told my reader how I got ready for my trip, how I was going to travel on my trip. And so now here I might tell them that then I got in my car. Next I made sure my car was ready, got in my car, and I drove to Worlds of Fun. And so next I'm going to go with my transition linking word, then. Okay, so now I'm going to say then I finally arrived at Worlds of Fun. And this might be a good spot for me to explain and talk about what I thought was going to happen, what I was excited to do, and what my thoughts were on the first thing I was going to do when I got in the gate. Okay, so then again, I'm going to pick a transition or a linking word, okay, and talk about what I did there. Okay, so I might say now, and then say now that I was there, I rode all of these rides. So now that I was there, I rode, and then here I would put all the different rides that I rode. And I'm going to make sure I include some details about these rides that I rode, which ones were my favorite, and I'm going to make sure that when I talk about riding these rides, I'm going to put them in order of first I rode this ride, next I rode this ride, then I rode this ride. And again, I'm looking for those transition and those linking words. And of course, no trip is complete without actually having to then travel home. So now I'm going to pick a transition or linking word that lets my reader know that this is the last step. So on this time, I'm going to use the word last. Last, I drove home. And here's where I'm going to wrap up my trip. Maybe remind the reader how much fun I had, what my favorite things were to do, and what I'm going to take away from my trip. So we want you guys to use this format on your graphic organizer to help tell us about your trip to your destination in the world.